Aaron Rodgers did not throw for 300 yards, this time against the 49ers, who ran roughshod over the ballyhoo Jets defense. Remember, top 5, I guess.
Top 1
Oh,
for a lot of
gosh.
people. Mine is the greatest.
Here's Saleh and Rodgers.
It's a championship outfit, and they introduced us to some championship football, and we'll get that fixed.
They are a championship-level group, and I hope we see them there.
Should the Jets feel optimistic? Optimistic?
Yeah.
About what? They had one drive all game where they looked like a professional outfit. And I tweeted, not sarcastically, but kind of sadly, I think that drive was the happiest sequence of events for Jet fans in a decade. I honest to God.
That might be.
Seriously, I think it was. Optimistic because here is the through line of folks who really want to believe in the Jets, what you're hearing this morning. Man, Aaron did show he can still throw such a pretty ball. America.
On the miss?
No, just in general, that he still has zip on his ball. Yeah, listen. I remember being a kid watching the NFL Today, and one day, and they would occasionally like go outside and throw the ball around. Dan Marino was in his 50s, and the ball came out of his hand beautifully.
I believe that.
It looked like he could. Aaron Rodgers would be able to throw a pretty ball forever. Nobody thought, well, he's just not going to know how to throw anymore. The question was the other parts about playing football, and how did that go for the Jets? Offensively, the season started with a drop and an eye roll, and then a fumble and an eye roll before the one good sustained drive. Shockingly, and we can show it to you, the San Francisco defense figured out what Nat Hackett and Aaron Rodgers wanted to do, left. They cracked the code, boys, that he's throwing there. And it stymied some things. Defensively, this big, bad Jets defense allowed points on 8 consecutive drives. You know how many times that happened in the entirety of the 2023 NFL season by any team? Zero. Correct. The Saints did it this weekend against the Panthers. Prior to that
counts.
The last time it happened was Bake Show with the Rams against Nat Hackett's Broncos, but he's not running the defense, but just what it is.
Bake's high.
So, I mean, you have no pass rush.
Yeah.
Seemed like you missed Hassan Reddick, big winner of the night. And Jordan Mason torched you.
Yes.
And so, no, they shouldn't feel optimistic. And every time we talk about the Jets, after each game, I'm going to ask Brew this question. Is it yet fair for me to question Bobby Saleh's coaching credentials, or is it still too early?
It's early.
It's still too early. Okay. All right. We'll find out when.
Jets fans, come here.
My goodness.
Come here. Don't listen to these two about your team.
Anything.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
They hate your team.
We don't hate.
They will never say a positive word about your team.
I like Chad Pennington.
I, on the other hand, don't really care about your team one way or the other. Which means I'm unbiased. Okay. And I will tell you the truth. And here it is. You shouldn't be pessimistic. How about that? You shouldn't be all over the place with optimism, but you shouldn't be pessimistic after one game. All right? You should be optimistic that you have a chance to make the playoffs for the first time in 14 years.
What about win the division like they were favored to do?
They still have a chance. Yeah, I said it's week 1.
No,
last year the Buffalo Bills got beat by the Jets without Aaron Rodgers in week 1. And how'd that work? Oh, they won the division. It's week 1. You played the best team in the NFC last year, right? The defending champs. In their building, they have a ton of stuff to prove. And you lost. Now, Nick, we didn't expect them to win that game.
No, but we didn't expect them to be down 32-13. We didn't expect them to allow points on 8 straight drives.
Aaron Rodgers was playing his first game in a year and a half, and he did not look special. He didn't look special. He looked more like the Aaron Rodgers from the last year in Green Bay. There's no doubt about that.
And the game, if I may, just to show before you finish the Wilds goes, this game from Aaron Rodgers statistically looked a hell of a lot like the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Yes. I
Team
absolutely
scores in the
agree.
teens. You struggle to get to
Yep.
200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And at some point, there is the possibility, against good teams, that's who Aaron Rodgers is.
Against all teams, that's who Aaron Rodgers is.
Here's what and just objectively, I'm wondering, does Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career, and even the last several years, need a Matt LaFleur? Because he didn't, remember, Aaron's never wanted a lot of pre-snap motion, even when he was elite at the height of his career. And then LaFleur, and he started struggling at the end of McCarthy's tenure without that stuff. LaFleur comes in, they upgrade the offense, if you will, more pre-snaps like that, and they're scheming guys open, and he has 2 MVP years. Now I wonder at this stage of his career, because yesterday it looked basic, right? And Rodgers and Nat Hackett are running it. And so that's a question that I do have. But to one game against one of the top 2, 3, 4 teams in the league.
How long did he have to prep for this game?
Wild. You can't
time.
prep. When you've been out for a year and a half, you still are going to have some growing pains, especially against the top team in the
his
league.
offensive coordinator that he brought over. They should be like, let's run our favorite stuff.
How many quarterbacks looked so-so this
A lot.
weekend? Just about everyone.
Yes,
and
but
all of them hadn't been out for
none
a
were
season.
ballyhooed like the savior of the New York Jets. Here's how I compared it to. Brew went to Bali. Remember one of those vacations?
Yeah.
I think it was the second vacation. If you came back and I was like, how was the vacation? And you said, you know what? Fine. It didn't ruin the vacation. It was a decent week. No, you said it was bucket list. And that's what I wanted. That's what I needed to see from Aaron Rodgers.
Thought you were going to. Against the Niners?
Yes. When people are saying
Against the Niners?
people are saying the Jets are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, those people
Why?
are
Because
way
they
out of
believe in
line.
Aaron Rodgers, who had 167 yards, slightly less than Deshaun Watson. Between Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow, he had 13 completions to 3 guys. His passer rating was 23rd. He's just an average quarterback, and I have to turn on these shows and hear that he's this. This is what really gets to me. If we want to peel back the emotional layers. That he's following the same track as Tom Brady, and he is not. Brady, his debut, lost to a Saints team. He had 239 yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns. He ran a touchdown. He had 2 interceptions. It was like, that's the rusty part. But Brady looked like the old Brady. And Aaron Rodgers does not look like the MVP.
I agree. He did not look like that.
And I just think there are I want to be very clear here. I do not think Aaron Rodgers was the problem last night. He wasn't part of the solution.
Right.
I think the biggest problem was the defense, which is a bigger problem in and of itself because
it's supposed to be a bigger
it's supposed to be great.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be great.
But the defense is supposed to be great instantly. Early in the year, the defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense.
Sure.
One of the reasons, to Brew's point, so many offenses, quarterbacks struggled, defenses are ahead. So that should have worked in their favor. Instead, they got run on. They generated no pass rush. They had no answers for a Niner team, and I know we'll get to it, that was without one of, if not their biggest weapon. So you have that piece of it. The second one is that target chart is abysmal. Every single pass, it was going to either Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson, with the occasional one to Allen Lazard, and then I guess he had one to Conklin. I don't even know who that was.
They didn't even play Williams till later.
No, Mike Williams started and then left and then came back in at the end. There was no creativity, and part of that was Aaron was one of 3 quarterbacks in week 1 to get rid of the ball on average in less than 2.5 seconds. It's almost like he's an older quarterback who's not mobile anymore and was afraid to get hit. Now, maybe that gets better, but the fastest to get rid of the ball this weekend was Jaden Daniels, who was very clear. My first read open, no, I'm running. Baker, who just seemed to be cooking immediately, and Aaron was number 3 on that list, 2.47.
He's always
fastest.
been quick release.
He's always been quick release, but with high production.
Oh yeah.
Now, and so this is where I get a little frustrated, Brew, not with you, but we can't, this is kind of a first cousin of what I thought was excuse making for the Dolphins. When it was like, well, it's hard to beat the Ravens and the Chiefs. Like, yeah, but you have to if you're in the Bills.
Right,
if you're going to.
right.
The Jets are supposed to be contenders. The Jets are the favorites to win a division that has Tua and Josh Allen in it. Now, does that mean you need to go to San Francisco and win? Of course not. San Francisco might go undefeated at home this year. But should you go to San Francisco and look competent? Should you go to San Francisco and have more than one drive with your starters that's good other than the Aaron Rodgers free play touchdown, which he's still excellent at? That part is demoralizing.
But it shouldn't be, because Buffalo did not look great this weekend. They struggled with an Arizona team. Most people don't have making the playoffs. I know people think they're frisky. And real talk, people think they're frisky, but they came into your building and almost beat you. All right, Miami got a win, which was a good win, but they didn't look great. So my thing is just, I agree, Jets fans. First of all, anybody thinking they were going to win the Super Bowl, you were already a little too high. But I just think they shouldn't be pessimistic and down, oh my gosh, we're going to be terrible. You were playing the San Francisco 49ers.
I guess my point is, I can't think of another contender or contender adjacent team that was very bad on